We're playing that because we have the great man himself on the line, Simon. We're talking about Ian Pee Wee Wilson. Sounds like the defendant, doesn't it? Please take the stand. Ian Pee Wee Wilson, good evening.
And a jolly good evening, boys.
Are you well?
I'm very well, thank you. I'm just having a brief rest before we take off for the next leg of the tour, which is off to Western Australia.
I actually have a question, Pee Wee, not for you, but for John. How does it feel, John, to for once not have the deepest voice in the room?
Yes, I know. Have you got an extra one, have you, Pee Wee?
I've never quite looked that close, John, but I probably could be, yeah.
Now, mate, do you ever get tired of touring? I mean, how long has it been now? You're the oldest group in Australia, aren't you? Just about the longest performing vocal group.
Well, that's right. That's true. Yeah, and it's not true that we came out with the first fleet. We did arrive late. 1958, the band started, so it's 59 years.
Wow.
55 years. So yeah, it's been a long time, and I do get tired of touring. It is tedious, but mate, everything comes together when the show goes on.
Yeah.
You know, it doesn't matter what we're doing. As soon as the show starts and we get up, we're all on a bit of a high because we're unashamedly crowd pleasers. That's what we want to do.
You'd rarely ever find a time, I would imagine, that you would have a crowd that wouldn't just rise to you straight away.
Well, I think there's always going to be an affection for the type of music that the Delis do. That's why I've stuck with it. I think it's just great fun to do, and it seems to get through. It's aimed at the heart and the feet, as we say, and it seems to work. And well, it must be working. We're here 55 years, down the track, and the band's still it's still got an audience, which is fantastic.
And we're talking to you because you've just written the book, Come a Little Bit Closer. Where did you get that title from, Pee Wee?
Yes, it was unique, wasn't it? But, I've come up with all sorts of titles, but that one sort of got the editor's attention. Yeah, no, I think it's a good idea, mate, because it's a very personal sort of trip, actually. You could call it a confession, really. Yeah,
and it has all the highs and, of course, the inevitable lows, doesn't it, Pee Wee?
Yeah, I try to cover them and try to get it pretty balanced. But it's been really an up trip, with a few downers on the way. But I've really enjoyed it. To have 55 years doing something, it's a bit cliche, but it's true. Doing something you really like to do, then it's a great privilege.
And ladies and gentlemen, let me read to you just a couple of unsolicited testimonials from Ray Martin. He said, "If I had have known he was this funny and this colourful, I would have done a TV special with Pee Wee years ago. I laughed a lot, you will too." And then, of course, you had Brian Henderson. Straightforward, honest and funny, revealing a serious, thoughtful side to the man who has made pop music history with that unforgettable voice. So they're big accolades there, Pee Wee.
Yeah, mate, very flattering, very, very nice. Lovely. Both excellent gentlemen, and enjoyed their company both. We did a little stint with Ray on a current affair, and Hendo came out to the book launch and so forth. So it was really terrific to have them on side.
Can I just indulge myself and read just a small portion from the book, which I got a great laugh out of. Woke my wife, actually, when I was giggling.
Right. That's not the part where they were chasing Playboy bunnies.
No. This is just a small bit. I was particularly accident-prone as a pre-teenager, a tendency that has continued throughout my life. And this nonsense with the Toadfish stopped, because you were playing around with Toadfish. This nonsense with the Toadfish stopped after a particularly memorable incident when I squeezed one too tightly. It slipped from my grip and latched onto my protruding bottom lip. Anyone who is familiar with toadfish knows that their front teeth are extremely large and powerful, and that once they get a grip, they don't let go. This is the bit I laughed at. Screaming with pain every time the fish wriggled, I half walked, half ran from the crowded Sunday afternoon beach with a flapping fish firmly attached to my lower lip. The beachgoers and picnickers' faces registered shock and disbelief as I ran past. Was I trying to eat a raw fish or spit it out? My mother saved my lip, but not the toadfish, cutting its head off on the breadboard. I love stories like that. That is fabulous.
Yeah, mate, I've still got the mark on the lip, I think. It's still there. A faint mark on the lip.
That's funny. How old were you then, Pee Wee?
Oh, I'd say about in 8 or 9, mate. Just around that very pre-teenage years.
Right.
And I love the beach. I mean, I was never off the beach. I rarely went to school and hung out the beach all the time. I was only 500 metres from the beach, so I could get down there and I'd wag school. I never went to school very much. And I didn't want to go to work, and the Deltones saved me.
Yeah. So when did you have much schooling? What year did you leave school?
Oh, I left at 16. I might have, I don't remember, but I think I repeated the last year. I don't know. I just couldn't stand the place. I just wanted to get out. I was always, sniffing out the window to smell the sea air to get down there on the beach again.
Yeah, you and I have a lot in common, actually.
I reckon with a lot of other people, because all those guys down the surf club were all the same way. But and it was I was really fortunate to get involved with the surf club. It was a home away from home, and terrific. It's a real egalitarian sort of outfit. It's going through its problems now, but at root, it's a great service.
Were you much of a singer before the voice broke?
No.
No?
No, and I had, John, I had no aspirations either to be a professional entertainer. I mean, I was a show-off, sure, and I was sort of imitating my dad's sort of techniques and things, but I had no aspirations to be a performer, a singer.
Well, when I said you and I have a lot in common, I left school when I was 16, and my career happened quite by accident as well. It's just funny how that happens, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, and I think all the major changes, as I say in the book, have all come unsought. I haven't been looking for it. It hasn't been a goal. My goals have been way off the mark, and I've missed them entirely. But all these other things, fortunately, happened for me, and yeah, it was unsought. It's funny, very funny indeed.
Now, is this the first book you've written, Pee-wee?
Yeah, mate, it is. It's the first thing I've written since I left school.
And hand on your heart, Pee-wee, you actually wrote it all yourself, or did you have a little bit of help from professional?
No, I didn't. I wrote it all myself.
Oh, great.
But I had a sub-editor and an editor to do the editing and fix it all up for me,
Yeah.
The first editor translated into English how to speak. And they made some sense of it, but, honestly, I don't think... No one else got involved with the writing.
The only reason I ask that is we had Doug Ayton on before. He's an author, and I'm an author, and I put that in inverted commas. I don't write stuff, I just steal stuff. But every year you will get a thing known as educational lending rights and public lending rights. It's like a royalty, Pee-wee. So even if your book doesn't sell, if people are borrowing it, you actually get a royalty.
Is that nice?
Yeah, for the rest of your life.
Well, how long that'll be, but I don't know whether we're going to get rich that way, Blackie. I don't think so. I'll have to flog them at the shows, I think, or something like that.
Well, when I got mine in the mail this morning, it said, "Oh, by the way, you've got to pay tax on it." There's no GST, but you've got to pay tax on it. So they give with one hand, taketh away. But it looks like a great read. I'm looking forward to reading it. Simon's already read it.
Yes, I'm most of the way through. I haven't seen yet. Do you touch on your movie career, your acting career?
I do, yeah, touch on that, mate, but, it was very brief, one movie, and I was out of it. I said to myself, no, these actors are too tough a business, hanging around all day, sitting there in makeup, waiting for to say 2 or 3 words. No, thank you.
Tell us about chasing Playboy bunnies. That's got me intrigued. I'm just reading the blurb here.
Yeah, well...
And keep in mind, Pee-wee, this is a family station, okay?
Yes. So let's ask Pee-wee a question he can't answer.
Can you imagine 4 surf lifesavers, landing at the Playboy Club for a gig, We just went berserk, and I set up an agenda right away to get to know the girls, as many rabbits as I could,
Yes.
And but it didn't happen, guys. I blew it, I fell in love. With them, and it spoiled everything. That was another agenda that failed for me.
Another one of life's great regrets, although I know you're still very much in love. All right, Pee-wee, listen, best of luck with this book. Come a little bit closer. Ian Pee-wee Wilson, Telling It Like It Is, and it's out on... Who's published it? Is it...
Firm Press, mate. A Firm Press through Random House. Yeah.
Right, through Random House. But it's available at all good bookstores, and you can order it on the net as well.
And you know what people should do? Buy it for Mother's Day.
Yes.
Because you buy it this year, you've got a year to relax and know that you don't have to worry about Mother's Day next year.
Good on you, Pee-wee. Best of luck with it, mate.
Thanks, guys. Thank you, lad. Great to talk to you.
Good on you. Pee-wee. It's Pee-wee Wilson, of course, from the Deltones, and his new book out, which he wrote himself, every word of it. Ian Pee-wee Wilson, Come a Little Bit Closer.
One of my favourite people, I have to say.
Absolutely, yeah. Yes, he's great. And I've spoken to him before, and he's just fantastic. 29. What are
you on 3XY?
20. I was going to say 9 ahead of myself, but it's 29 minutes past 9.